tall so the tree fit. Stocking fat, need a fed bit. With my people, I don't need shit. Round the clock like 3-6. Plate looking like a V6. Couch feeling like the perfect cloud. Over age just a wee bit. Dozing off like, oh shit. The family chatty. Question asking, what no badly. How's your girlfriend's baby daddy? Drink got heavy, heart got heavy. I can't laugh with. It's just the holidays. I feel good, feel a lot of things. Well, it all depends. I don't got a lot to say or a lot for some on the brain. It's okay, then it's okay to hide.
Okay.
Right when I get right, I pop right back outside. I wanna know it's so thank, hold me down, alright.
What's the word, family?
I wanna know it's okay, then it's okay to hide.
What's up?
Right when I get right, I pop right back outside. I wanna know it's so thank, hold me down, alright.
Dang, the holidays are fast approaching. I'm curious what y'all are trying to get done before the year ends, okay? Speak it into existence.
Tell me what you really feel and if it's really real or what it is. Cause I can't perceive the Santa. Tying the bow in front of the family. Told my elves to crap it handed. Couple red nose on my slave. Smoking blunts with Rudolph. Couple kids wanna come trip. That's what Blitz had the Blitz out. Told Crips cancel for a year. I'ma stay here with my hoes. 10 toes frozen my goals. Right in the north of my pole. It's okay, then it's okay to hide.
What's the word, y'all?
Right back outside. I wanna know it's so thank, hold me down, alright. It's alright, yeah. It's alright, yeah. I wanna know it's okay, then it's okay.
Shout out to Maddie Owens on the track.
I get right, I pop right back outside.
That's some good sis miss from Maddie Owens, Connis, and C4. Oh my gosh. Big shout out to Maddie. He's been on that 25 days of Christmas in Boston. 25 songs for the month of December. So if you want to check out the rest of the pack, go on, head over to his page. Also assigned to Could Have Been Records with Drewski. Okay. Period, Maddie. Super dope artist and producer from Boston. Yo, what's the word, y'all? What's the word? I might have to spin a little more. Give me. All right. Man, Christmas is upon us. So is Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. Okay, we're not gonna exclude all the other holidays that are going on right now, but it is very much fast approaching. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the 9th edition. Okay, we've had 9 episodes so far for Beantown Talks. Whether you've been here since the first one or whether you just now tuning in, I appreciate you for being here. Alright, this is where we talk about Boston's past, present, and future. Crazy to think about how this all even started, with just sparking conversation around where we're at as a city and all these little hurdles that we've been trying to get over for decades, it seems. So again, I appreciate y'all from the beginning for just being part of the conversation. And this is unfiltered, open forum style, all perspectives and stories welcome. If you don't know who I am, my name is Stacks. What's good, everybody? My name is Stacks, and I do a few different things in the city, from management and music business to creative entrepreneurship, but I'm really just a Gen Zer, born and raised in Boston, who has a 6-foot vision for this city. You feel me? So if you've been here before, y'all know the drill, but we always gotta go over some of the housekeeping rules for folks who may not be familiar. When I say it's open forum style, I truly mean that. All perspectives are welcome, from the good, the positives, negatives, everything in between. So if you feel at any point during the conversation, we usually have a special guest hop on every week, and we do have one for today. But if you feel compelled at any point to join the live and contribute to the conversation, maybe it's a question you want to ask or just really furthering the convo, you're more than welcome to join the live. We can have up to 4 people at once. You can request with the little addition icon below with the camera, or you can put your little hand up like this, put the little hand wave emoji, and I'll make sure that we get you on there. And of course, okay, I know a lot of different emotions be popping up when we talk about this city, but if we could keep the language PG, okay, no vulgar language, no hate speech. Let's keep it respectful as much as possible and keep the conversation productive, right? If you have any questions, again, you can either pose it live, or if you feel more comfortable, you can use the question mark icon below. I'll be checking that throughout, or you can also just pop it in the comments section, and I'll also be making sure to read those. So no pressure if you can't hop on live. Also, don't be shy, okay? I don't bite, and none of the guests that I bring on here bite either, all right? And lastly, if you want to catch up on any of the episodes, if you want to rewatch this one, they all get archived on YouTube. If you go to Beantown Stacks on YouTube, you can also go to the link in my bio to find that. But they all have been archived on there for your listening and viewing pleasure. What's good, everybody hopping in? What's good? Happy Saturday. Happy holidays and all of that. So, a few events coming up, all right? Because we not slowing down. We still got a whole bunch more activity going on in the scene. Next Thursday, Michael Christmas is hosting a Christmas party. So fitting, okay? And it's going to be his first time headlining in over 5 years. So, pretty historic. And if that name doesn't ring a bell, I highly encourage you to look into his work. Really great hip-hop artist with a lot of history in the city and a lot of influence. He's done really great work. That's December 18th, next Thursday at Sonia in Cambridge. Doors open at 7. And if you wanna get your tickets, you can go to @MichaelChristmas on Instagram. I'll pop that in the chat as well for folks who are interested. Also, next Wednesday, Boston Music Awards. All right. Arguably the biggest night for music in the city. They've been doing it for nearly 40 years now, celebrating artists, venues, managers, booking agents, like any facet, any part of the industry that you could think of, and all the different communities. There's a couple of new categories this year as well, like nonprofit of the year just got added, and a few others. So all of those different beautiful pieces that make up the Boston music scene, they all get celebrated next Wednesday, December 17th at Big Night Live. Doors are also at 7, and if you want ticket information to that, you can go to bostonmusicawards.com. Highly recommend pulling up to that if you haven't been before. It's a pretty dope night, and it's like one of the few events where like everyone's together. When I say everyone, I really mean like not just one side of town, like people from the outskirts of Mass and Cambridge and all those other sides come through as well. So it's cool. It's really beautiful to like see everybody in so many different cultures and so many different parts of the music scene and the culture scene in that space. One more for y'all. Next Saturday, December 20th, Street Theory Gallery has a holiday market. They'll be having local makers, artists, small businesses there. If you haven't been to Street Theory Gallery, it's a new spot that just opened up in Cambridge. in like the Central Square area. It is beautiful. Like, shout out Street Theory Collective, okay? It is not easy as artists to actually like put up space that like you own and that you front. It is gorgeous. They launched it like I think just last month, so it's still relatively new. But yeah, highly recommend stopping by. That is next Saturday, December 20th. The address to the gallery is 541 Mass Ave in Cambridge. The market is from 12 to 4 p.m. Free entry. Okay, we love a free 99. And if you want more information on that, you can go to @Street Theory Collective on IG. Welcome everyone tuning in. Those are just 3 events. You know, we always do 3, but you know there's a whole lot more where that came from. So if you want to hear about a lot more events, please join the Discord. I highly recommend you join. That gets updated every week with any upcoming events, local shows, grants, opportunities, resources for artists. And it's super easy to join. It's like a super quick application. And actually, we've got a little over 500 people in there. So all the folks who still think there's no scene, like, I'm going to need you to wake up, okay? Because it's definitely alive. It's been alive. But yeah, we've got a virtual meetup within the Discord community next Thursday. It's also open to, you know, people who aren't in the server, but it's really just a chance for us to connect and put faces to names. Everybody can kind of like share what they've got going on. Maybe you need something that somebody else just happens to have access to, and you know, that's how we build. And then we'll also just talk about like what we want the new year to look like, right? Like, you know, I would love to just ideate with everybody, and there's so many different ideas. Everybody's got different strengths, so whatever we do, whatever Beantown scene looks like next year, like it's going to be a collaborative effort. So if that's something that interests you and you want to be a part of kind of dreaming up what that space looks like, please I need you in the Discord. The link to that is in my bio. Oh shoot, hold on, circle squared. 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. today, 24 hours of culture at Cambridge Multicultural Center. Okay, yes, all of that in a bag of chips. I'm gonna assume the info for like where they can get tickets is on your page, or is it free? Let them know. Let us know. But yeah, y'all, please, I say it every week, the best way to connect is by popping up, showing up to these events. There's so many different communities. Free RSVP. Look at that. Look at God. Thank you. All right, y'all. Cool. Thank you to everyone coming in. Oh, I need me some water. Now my voice going out. This year has been so exciting. So exciting. But I'm going to tell you something even more exciting. Today's guest, listen. First of all, I already had her on my list, okay? When this started, my brain immediately was like, yeah, I need to talk to these people. So this was already in the works. After party, is link in the bio. Appreciate you speaking life to the cultural scene. Man, I appreciate you for what you're doing to strengthen it and create spaces where we can gather for real. Okay, shout out to the after party. Also, it is not easy to organize events. Like, it is not easy for so many different reasons, and that's a whole other conversation, but appreciate you for doing that work. Yeah, I still have yet to pull up to a 24 hours event, so thank you for that. Thank you. But yeah, y'all, today's guest, she really needs no type of introduction, because I guarantee you already know her. And if you don't, I'm sure you've seen her around, or you've been in the same space without even knowing it. She's, in my opinion, like the true definition of community leadership, the essence of what it means to just lead with integrity and a genuine love for people, like specifically creatives, black and brownness, queerness, any ideas that exist on the margins of society. These are the people that she uplifts in any space that she's in. She's a light, she's an inspiration to many, many people, including myself, and I really couldn't be more honored and lucky to have her close out this final. Oh, please give a warm welcome to Miss Amanda Shea.
Hey, 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 how's everybody doing?
Oh my gosh, the queen has
We are here.
arrived.
I'm just trying to get my lighting right. Okay, this looks good to me. This looks good
Yes,
to
though
me.
you look good. Okay,
So
background.
do you, so do you, baddie.
Thank you, thank
So do
you.
you. You're
Oh my
welcome, welcome.
gosh. Oh, we got Dart in the chat. Amanda has been a dot connector, manager, sounding board, and light for our community. And what?
First of all, a cosign from Dart Adams. Dart is like a living legend, okay? Like, if you don't know who he is, you don't know Boston. Because when I think of Boston, I think of Dart Adams. He is one of the biggest, like, historians that we have that's living, breathing, keeping the pulse and the culture alive, and also making sure that everybody knows their facts. Because people be playing about Boston. People be
That part.
Boston. He's like, oh, no. What you talking about? Come get this education. So I'm honored to be up here. I saw his episode. He's incredible. I watch everything that Dart does. And I was able to be at, what was it called? GrindCon, and watched him do a panel discussion with Sam J. And that was just incredible. So anywhere that Dart Adams is, you be there.
Yes,
Period. But we
absolutely.
also talking to a young legend in charge too.
Oh
I'm
gosh.
with I don't even know what to call
Please.
it, but I'm with someone, and they was like, "How old is she?" And I was like, "She's young, but she's a legend in the game." And he's like looking at her live, like she just seems really young. And I was like, "Yeah, but age
That's
don't matter when
hilarious.
it comes to wisdom, okay? She out here moving and grooving." So I'm really happy to be here. I'm super happy that you created this platform. I told you offline, and I'm gonna tell everybody online. This was needed. This was needed.
Mm,
And we've been talking about Boston for a very long time, me and you. We've had a lot of personal conversations. And I think we both are passionate about our city. And not only that, but we want to make sure that people are amplifying it in a way that matters instead of
absolutely.
breaking each other down, siloing each other, being super competitive. We have so much to offer. And I feel like, you know how Harlem had its Renaissance era? Like, I feel
Mm,
like Boston, this is that. Like, and I'm just happy to be witness to watching people like yourself not only create platforms like this, but be a manager, okay? Like, first of all, you don't just pick up anybody. Your
oh
artists
my
are absolutely
gosh. Oh my
talented.
gosh.
You yourself are an artist, and I cannot wait to see you back into the realm of what you do because you're a poet, you're a singer, you're a
Oh
songwriter.
my
Like
gosh.
you are for real. And
Not
then
you
like
making this about
obviously
me, Amanda.
no, because we gotta give flowers while flowers are due. You feel what I'm saying? And then on top of it, if that was not already enough, the work that you do with Beat the Odds, like a lot of people don't know this because I don't really speak very openly about my children. Like people know I'm a mom, but I don't show them online. So I think people forget.
Mm,
But my son is in that program, and we could talk about why I don't show my kids. Some people think it's for reasons that it's not, but I have too many reasons why I don't. But to have my son in that program with y'all, you know, you,
yeah.
Camilla, Gio, like my son has been thriving. Not only has he been stepping out of himself, but like he's learning and being more creative and passionate about the things
Yes.
that he loves. So
Mm,
like it's just a really beautiful thing to see y'all what y'all do with Beat the Odds. It is like a second family to me, for real, for real.
yeah. Oh, I
Second fame, I
appreciate you
see you,
so
bro.
much.
I see you in the
Oh,
chat, bro. I see you in the chat, bro. Another legend. I see you in the
So
chat.
much love in the chat. So much love. Amanda,
Because this is
not
really
you
boss.
turning, not you putting down the reverse card. Oh my gosh.
Uno reverse.
Nah, I appreciate you so much, and I'm blessed as somebody who is still new to all of this and just now, kind of understanding the lay of the land. Like, I wouldn't be able to do any of this work if you weren't so willing to share your stories and all the work that you've done over the past like decade for real. It's like to really like all that you've done to pour into this scene. It's dark, all of y'all. Like, yeah, salute BTO, Big Mike, and Exit Fame. Like, you guys really laid down a lot of the foundation that like our generation is now able to walk on. Like, thank goodness there's spaces like BTO now, that can kind of make this process a little easier and make the pursuit of art feel more tangible and within reach. So I appreciate, because I know a lot of that wasn't there for a while. So
especially for
before we
the babies. And like, huge shout out to teen empowerment, because
Yep.
nothing, they've been doing the work for a very long time. Also, shout out to TCP, Transformative Culture Project. Shout out to the Loop Lab, who's also an amazing resource for kids who are looking to get into film. And obviously, shout out 617 Pink.
Yep.
As most people know, I'm the arts and culture director over there. So like, it's important to support these youth programs, because they are the next generation of creatives. And when I say creatives, that could mean anything, because most people are like, oh, you guys are just specializing with youth that do performance-based art. And I'm like, no, we're talking about graphic designing. We're talking about media marketing, digital creation. We're talking about music production. We're talking about cinematography. There it is. Videography, photography, things like that. Like, all those things matter. I want to see more people do like theater for youth, because like, what does it look like to have somebody shadow like a stage manager, and do like sound and lighting and things like that, because that's all a part of the process too. It's not just front facing artists.
Absolutely.
Oh, Avi.
We've got Beats, Rhymes, and Life in the chat too.
Yeah, beats, rhymes, and life too.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, how could I possibly forget? BRL is life as well. Like, there's so many huge orgs that are really truly doing the work. I love them though. I really love them. When I got to go visit them, I just fell in love with all their students. So yes, shout out to them too. And I'm trying to think, am I forgetting anybody else?
Oh, we definitely are, but like the database, listen, the database is coming, guys. We're gonna make a database so that we don't have to struggle with
And
this
there's been
again.
talks about having like a database and like having a collective, what was that? A collective calendar. People are like, oh, I want to know what's going on. And I think people have started to do it, but then I don't know what happened. I want to say it's hard and difficult to like keep up on something like that, but we have to make a database. We have to share the resources, because I feel like we come from an era of like gatekeeping, and we don't want to. We're done with that. We're done with that. Like, when you compete, you keep people back. But when you are really about collective upliftment, we're sharing resources. We're not keeping you from them. So shout out to y'all. Y'all are in the chat heavy right now. I can't keep up.
Facts.
I'm gonna focus on you, Stacks. I'm gonna focus on
DJ Dinosaur K, the legend himself, has arrived. Thank you for being here, man. Ooh, this is a good one. We got good energy in here. So before we get into everything, first of all, welcome everybody who's been joining in. Another reminder: if any questions pop up, please pop them in the little icon chat, or throw them in the comment section. We're about to get started. Amanda, for people who don't know you, although I think everybody in here does, but just in case there's one or two, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, what you do, all of the good stuff.
My name is Amanda Shea. I'm originally from the South. Most people don't know that. South Carolina, big South Carolina energy. But obviously, I've been in Boston for more than half my life at this point. So it's really the only city that I know for real. So I be out here repping Big Boston. There's a couple of shows that we go to and people be like, Big Boston. I'm like, yeah, big Boston.
Yeah.
And not Boston either, because we don't say it like that. Who talks like that? I'm an educator. I'm an artist. I'm a host. I'm a curator. I am a mom. I am a beautiful friend. I'm trying to be somebody wifey.
I can't with
um,
you.
he said, "I'm gonna just roll over since you said that. Like we just gonna pretend like you didn't say that."
Oh
And you know,
wait, is he in the
I
room?
try to be big sis or big auntie. I feel like where I'm at in age now, I'm like auntie vibes, which is cool.
Mm.
Um, it, not y'all getting in the chat being like in an inspiration. That's crazy. Okay, don't. It's too early to
Yes.
cry in the interview. I work for 617 Peak, as most of y'all know. I'm the arts and culture director there. I also have a show on GBH called Outspoken Saturdays, which is a poetry platform for all my poets in the city and
Mm.
outside of the city. It's not just, there for, Boston heads. It's literally for everybody. We've had people from Florida, Detroit, Rhode Island, Connecticut on the program. So it's really dope. It's every first Saturday of the month. What else? Oh, Freeverse. Oh my God, I'm tripping. I'm also the founder and curator of Freeverse, which is an open mic dedicated to the youth and adults. Every month is every third Thursday of the month, and it's at the Civic Pavilion. Big shout out to the city of Boston for the Arts Engagement Plaza grant that we were able to
Mm.
receive. We're at the Civic Pavilion. We're from 6 to 9. It's free. So you pay nothing. So it's free to get in. We also feed you. So all the food is free. Drinks are
Oof.
free. And we highlight an adult from different cities every single month. So I'm sorry, adult poets from Boston. We ain't amplifying your voice at this time. We want to make sure that we're bringing in different people from different states, just to show people what the culture looks like, how poetry can change up, different styles of poetry. Every city that I've been to, I've realized that everybody got their own culture, their own slang,
Mm-hmm.
their own way of being. So it's really dope to bring that into Boston. And half of the people that we featured already have never been to Boston. So this will be their first time.
Wow.
And they always have a good experience. The grant allows us to pay for their travel, their lodging, and their booking fees. So all the artist has to do is just show up and show out. They get to sell their merch, which most of them sell out every single show. And then they're
Mm.
paired with a 617 Peak youth or soon to be Beat the Odds youth. We had Maki Yukio last month who came through with EV, which
Mm-hmm.
they're up and coming. They're definitely a group to watch for if you do not know who they are. They've been in the
Absolutely.
game for a minute and they're still young. And he actually featured with Soulful Poetry all the way from Detroit, and that was his first time coming here. So we're just trying to cultivate, break barriers, and expand Boston for real because this is a hub. I want us to think of Boston like a New York or an Atlanta or
I'm about it.
California or Houston because we have Black people here. I hate when I be going, where am I? Where are we? DC. Like, what state are we in? I'm in DC. And it's funny because every time I go someplace else, I was in Baltimore last night, people be like, there's Black people in Boston? And
I
I'm like,
know.
no, there's no Black people in Boston. I'm the only one. So now there's really no Black people in Boston. No, there's Black people in Boston. We have a big culture of Black and brown people. I think people forget, like, we're a transient space. Like, people come here for school. You know what I'm saying? People immigrate from so many
Right.
different countries here. So we're like a melting pot. We have a little bit of everything. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Bridget Gibbs. Oh my God, is
Yes.
that Finn? I can't believe you're on this live.
Wait, I love this.
Yo, like people really showing up and showing out. I love this. And I just met RG Vin in photography last night in Baltimore at Words. I'm sorry, Wings, Wine, and Words last night. I just peeped in
Mm.
there last night and I just met her. dope energy and a dope
Period.
photographer. So the fact that she's on this live is insane right now. You see
Period.
how we move around as artists? We cultivate community everywhere we go.
That
Yeah, big
part.
CV energy. We see you, Big Mike. Cape Verdeans do it best. You feel me?
Yes. I know y'all heard the resume. I know y'all heard the depth of this resume. So before we get into it,
Mm-hmm.
we gonna turn the clock back. And this is cool because I feel like I've never had the chance to actually ask you these questions about like the beginnings, like before Shea, the Amanda Shea that I have come to meet you as, like before this transformation. So you moved to Boston in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out RCC. Okay.
Gang gang.
Do you remember what which still boggles my mind. I remember when I first met you, I would have never known that you weren't a Bostonian. Like I would have never ever known that you weren't. Honestly, at this point, you got roots here. Like you
Thank
are
you.
a resident
It's like
Bostonian.
what is that? Common law after 11 years or something? Like
Right.
we just, yeah.
Right. Do you remember what your first impression of that you had of the city? Like even before, I don't know if you've been to Boston before you started going to RCC.
So interesting fun fact. So my mom met who I call my father when I was like 2 years old, and he's from Boston. So he's raised me since I was two, obviously, but he's lived in like Boston. So like Roxbury, Dorchester. He grew up in Roxbury, moved to Dorchester, and then ended up buying a house like once him and my mom split up. Bought a house in Jamaica Plain. So right
Mm.
behind the Sam Adams Brewery is where he lives. So I've always, once they split up when I was like 11, I've always been back and forth to Boston for the summers to visit him.
Oh.
So most people don't know that. So I feel like at this point, and I lived in Milton for a little bit when I was like 12 and a half, almost 13. I lived in Milton for a little bit, right off of Blue Hill Ave. And I went to school here for like a year. And then by the time I was like 14, almost 14, I moved back with my mom. So I feel like it was destined. Now, like when I look back at it, I'm like, I never thought I would like land here,
Wow.
but I think God had a plan the entire time. So when I first got here, obviously I'm a kid. I've always loved Boston. My dad was really big on like touristy shit. Can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm like, I know the babies be watching. I'm over here vaping. It's not weed, y'all. I promise you. I promise you. But we very uninhibited, and it's a Saturday, and I've been traveling, so you're gonna get that
Right.
raw meat. Um, so I always was like at the aquarium, the museum. My dad was really big and still is big on history. Very big hip hop head.
Mm.
When him and my mom were together, we grew up on the Cape in Hyannis. So he would always tune in with the like extension cord. I'm showing my age because this is like tape deck, cassette, you know what I'm saying, record era. But he would always like put up like an extension cord and stuff and try to get the stations from Boston to play in the house.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, like my everything I know about music, I have to attribute to my dad. And he was always like staying in touch with what Boston was doing, even when we
Mm.
weren't here yet. So for me, I feel like it was always in the plan to be here. But even when I came back in 2006 and decided to go to RCC, which shout out to them, we'll get into why RCC is so important to me. And then I think I can announce what's gonna happen. We'll talk. But I went to RCC in 2006. I lived in Fort Hill, and I'm telling you, Boston is really what grew me up and also allowed me to learn my history. So growing up in Hyannis, Cape Cod, and even some places in the South, we wasn't taught about Black culture. You know, the same three people: Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and don't get me wrong, legends, right? But I was never told about like the Cornel Wests of the world or the Medgar
Mm.
Evers of the world. Like this is important, or even poetry. Like I was reading Edgar Allan Poe when I was a kid. I wasn't into like the Maya Angelou's and the Audre Lordes and even Phyllis Wheatley Peters, who's her roots are here. So I feel like it taught me a lot about who I am as far as my blackness.
Mm.
And RCC was the first, and I don't think a lot of people know this, but it's the first Black community college in Massachusetts, period.
Mm.
So to be next to the Reggie Lewis Center, which obviously is historic as well, I just learned so much. I got so much from here. So because RCC did me so well, I was able to be like involved in like the Student Government Association. Didn't know what that was. You know what I mean? I served on the board of trustees as a student trustee for years. I met my chosen family, Hope Inc. So shout out to them. That is now, well, it was Club Hope at the time, now Club Hope Inc., which stands for Hop on Proper Education.
Mm.
Like, if it wasn't for them and throwing their poetry nights and their open mic nights at RCC, I probably wouldn't be a poet. And I also met my husband there as well. Like, we were college
Wow.
sweethearts. So Jaden, who's at Beat the Odds, is his son. So it's like it's like a full circle moment. You know what I mean? Like, I got everything from RCC and from Boston. So I think because of that is why I'm huge on giving back to the community. Like, Boston has given me so much, I have to give back in any way that means, you know?
Yeah, I love that. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. I love Boston for real.
Yeah, I feel so, that's a rare sentiment. So we
Oh, I know. I mean,
all
I've seen
hearts.
the parts of it that people don't like, and I get it. But you gotta understand, like, that's part of the design in any city or state that you go in. I thought it was just in Boston, how we were siloed, how we had people being very competitive, how we had a lot of gatekeeping going on. Like, there's years of trauma that exists here, which makes sense.
Yeah.
If you think about it historically, it's set up to be like that. But there's a lot of different places that are like that. Philadelphia is the same way. It has a lot of history too.
Mm.
Baltimore is the same way. You know what I mean? So it's like every city has its own thing. It's not just Boston. But you got to look past that and be a part of the solution and not be a part of the problem.
Right, right. And that's so cool that you've been able to, like, through your travel, see how different cities operate, see how different cultures work. Because I feel like, just without that perspective, then it comes to a point where it just feels like it's a Boston thing and it's a Boston problem.
Mm-mm. Houston too. Like, I be hearing stories, Detroit. I hear stories all the time about, especially in this industry of artistry, where it's like it's set up for us to compete with each other. Like, there's a reason why they only want one, female rapper at the top of the game, and why they only, you know what I mean? It's not just us. It's the industry. It's set up for us to kind of be pitted against each other, to be like, I'm the best one out. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I think, especially in rap culture, it's like, you're supposed to say that you're the best. They were asking the game that the other day. They were like, who do you think is the best rapper in the West Coast? Now, I thought he was going to give credit to Kendrick Lamar, because I feel like that's who's the best rapper. But he was like,
Mm.
I am. And I'm like, that's so hip hop. It's so hip hop. Like, ain't no rapper supposed to be like, this dude better than me. Like,
Yeah.
nah, bro. You're supposed to big up yourself. So I feel like people lose that. Like, they don't understand that.
Not facts. We've got some folks in the chat. Dart said he first met you through Ariel Gray when she was managing artists and helping artists and creatives get above the noise. We're gonna touch on that in a second. That's
Shout
Big
out to
Mike. That's
Ariel
why.
Gray too. Shout out to her. She's been doing the work for a really long time as a music journalist, for real, for real. One of the true and few ones that we had in the city at that time, covering the acts that she was. Now it's big, but at the time that she was doing it, it wasn't that popular, especially in hip hop.
Big Mike said I'm the best ever. Whoa,
Okay,
whoa.
Big Mike, say it with your chest.
Listen, I support it. I support it. So, Hope Inc. This is also like the first space, at least since you were younger, that like you started to share poetry. Like, what was the process of you as an artist, as a creative, like getting more involved in the scene and like networking and kind of pushing your name out? And did you face any like obstacles at the time?
Damn, 2006.
Because we're at now in 2025 at this point. Like if you it's to the point where if you don't know Amanda, it's a problem. Like it's I'm gonna shout out what the I forget who said it on the E250 campaign of like if you're someone who's interested in just getting into the scene, literally follow Amanda around. Like how did we get there, and what in the beginning when you were just trying to kind of infiltrate, what was that process like?
So shout out to Janae also. She's the one who said that, which is also a big name in the city. If you do not know who Janae is, you're living under a rock. She's not only a journalist and works for the Boston Globe, but she also has her own column called A Beautiful Resistance that literally focuses on Black and Brown people in the city doing the work, and that are innovators of all different areas of expertise. So shout out to Janae. Hope Inc., Club Hope. Oh my God. So first and foremost, shout out to Mike, Curtis, Quasi, Desiree, Cristal, Chanel. Like this is just a smidget of the names that I can accredit this to. So back in 2006, Mike, Curtis, Quasi, and I know I'm forgetting somebody, and Matt, and oh my God, Jermaine. So they all got together and was like, no shade, no tea. They was like, how can we finesse the college and make a club where we could get college funding to be able to throw events on college campus? So didn't know you could even do that. So the SGA, Student Government Association, if you create a club or join an existing club, each college gives you disbursement funds so that you can use them throughout each semester. So they disperse them each semester throughout the year, where you can do events and gatherings and things like that on college campuses. So if you did not know that, please do that. I know a couple of my young people who are now at like Northeastern, Emerson, Leslie, who are creating new groups that these colleges have never seen. So they wanted to do like a Club Hope, which was Hop on Proper Education. It's always meant the same thing. And they basically wanted to just throw parties. And one of the events that they would do, we had a lot of parties, but one of the events we would do was an open mic night. And I'm an 80s baby. I'm not afraid to say that loud and proud with my chest. So the only time that I saw poetry really, like in real life, was Def Poetry Jam. So some of my 80s babies that if you know, you know. And like that's where we saw some of your favorite rappers. Some of your favorite rappers were poets before they were rappers.
Talk about it. In the beginning was the word.
In the beginning was the word. And that's where I saw like Kanye, Talib Kweli, Mos Def, Saul Williams. Saul Williams' performance on Def Poetry Jam will forever stick out to me because he came up there with like a scroll. And it was the first time I ever seen like a really elongated scroll, and he was just reading his poem. You could probably find it on YouTube. The quality
I'm about to say, I gotta tap in.
great, but tap in. So they were doing an open mic every single month. And I was just like listening to these poets do their thing. And it would be poets, it would be rappers, singers. People would just do whatever they wanted to do. And I was like, this is fucking fire. But at the time, I wasn't performing. I was just writing. I've been writing since I was 8. But I never wanted to perform. I was way too shy. Still kind of am. I be getting social anxiety and anxiety all the time. That's just who I am as a person. But I was watching them and I was like so inspired. I was like, this is fire. So when we ended up graduating, we kind of went our separate ways as you do as adults, but we reunited and started teaming up with Teens Against Gun Violence. So which is still around in Boston. And we were starting to go into colleges like Springfield College, et cetera, et cetera. So we started moving around. And then one day I remember Quasi came to me in Tim's house and was literally in the kitchen and was like, so I'm thinking about bringing Club Hope to like a nonprofit space. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah, instead of it being Club Hope, I want to make it just Hope Inc. And I was like, that's a fire idea, but like, why are you in my kitchen telling me and him about this? Like, it sounds like you already have a plan. And he's like, well, I want to get a brick and mortar space. And this is what started Dudley Cafe. So we ended up going into Dudley Cafe. Please don't quote me on the year. I want to say like 2016, 2015. But we went into Dudley Cafe. Biplaw, who also is another legend in the city and runs Comfort Kitchen, what we know now, a James Beard awarded restaurant, which if you don't know nothing about culinary, that is really difficult to get. So shout out to them, family.
Wow.
We started with them at Dudley Cafe, started doing an open mic, and Desiree at the time was our resident host. And she had something go on with her family that I won't disclose because it's her personal business. And she had to step away from the mic for a second. So Quasi was like, we're going to need a host. And I was like, what? I'm the community engagement liaison. That was my role. I was to go to all the other open mics in the city to get people to come to our mic, which was a lot because I'm sitting here flyering. It also showed me a lot about the community. It's how I met a lot of people.
Oh, wow.
And Quasi, his idea was not only to just have a mic, but he wanted to create what they call a chop bar. So we were serving street food from Ghana, Nigeria, from places that Boston really wasn't really highlighting at the time. We're amplifying that now. We have the Zaz of the world. We have so many different places now, but at the time he just wanted to show his roots through food. So he recruited my husband, and they both did their thing in the kitchen, and I was hosting. That's how all of this happened. I want to say probably like 5 months into it, I remember somebody calling me out, and I wish I would remember who it was, because I can always point out an artist in the room. I don't know what it is. It's like a sixth sense. So I would always be like, you should come to the mic and like spit on the mic, da 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 da. And somebody called me out and made me feel like a hypocrite because they were just like, yo, you write poetry. Like, why aren't you ever performing poetry? And I was like, I'm not a performer though. And they were like, but you write though, you are a poet. So I learned a lot about myself at that mic. I had a lot of liquid courage going on. So I would drink a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Just to get the nerves out until I realized like performing is a spiritual experience. Like God is literally using my body as a vessel, as a vehicle to get the message that I need to get out to the audience. And when I was inebriated, I would never remember what I was saying on stage. I never did anything inappropriate or was like a sloppy, like inebriated or nothing. But there was something to be said when I would walk off the stage and not understand, like, well, what just happened? So at that point, I said, I'm going sober. I'm not going to drink before shows. I'm not going to smoke weed before shows. I literally just want to feel the experience. And I think once I saw like Matt Gannum, Risha G, Nava the Butterfly, Dee Delgado, Ja D, Free, D Ruff, I have to name these people every single time that I talk about poetry because these are the people, Jeannie Nunez, Matt Parker. These are the people that when I saw poetry, that's what changed the way that I showed up in it. They were able to bring me to a space where I could not only feel their experience, but it was like I was living their experience with them at that time. And Matt Gannum, I sing his praises all the time because he was the first person that I ever heard do poetry about addiction from the addict's point of view. He literally mended me and my mom and my dad's relationship. I was not that close to my parents because growing up, they were addicts. And I hated them for that. So because my life was so rough growing up in that type of environment, I literally heard Matt talk about, yo, I feel like shit for being an addict. I've lied, stealed, betrayed, did anything just to, and it humanized addiction for me. I could cry. I'm going to stop because I will cry if I keep talking about it. But if it was not for that man talking about addiction very openly and honestly through his poetry, I don't know where me and my mom or my dad's relationship would be today.
Wow.
Yeah. And now, shout out to him. He's opened a pizza shop. He has opened up a recovery center. This is like now in flash forward 10 years later. And he gets people who have battled with addiction. They're the workers at his pizza shop. And he really like is out here saving lives with his recovery center. Like, real story.
God bless him. I'm so glad that you're touching on the deep roots that poetry has in the city, because even when we just talk about the arts, I still feel like the city's a little archaic. You know, we're still on the way to even just recognizing hip hop as an art form as a city at large, but definitely like the poetry scene doesn't get enough light and love for sure. Where's the pizza shop?
Weymouth. So is the recovery center too, if I'm not mistaken. It's Diana said. Dex said, couldn't convince me you didn't come out of the womb performing poetry at this point. Girl, I mean, listen, this was not the road that I felt like I was supposed to be taking. So I was going to school to be an attorney. I wanted to be the female Johnny Cochran, but prosecutor. And my mom got locked up when I was 16 years old, did a bid for about a year. So I've been on my own since 16 years old. I grew up really, really fast.
Wow.
So I was paying the bills. I was keeping the roof over our head while she was in jail. But I still was convinced. I'm like, you do the crime, you do the time. So even her doing the bid, I was like, well, you got locked up because you did something wrong. Like, you should pay the punishment for that. But then my husband got locked up. Literally, I cannot make this up. 2 weeks as I graduated RCC, and 2 weeks before his birthday, he got locked up on June 19th of 2009 and got a 3-year sentence. They were trying to throw the whole kitchen sink at him. They was going to give him 10 years. And our son at the time was only 18 months old. So could you imagine like being in a space of graduating? Now he's locked up and now I'm out here with 2 kids trying to be a single mom and go to UMass Boston. I think once that happened, I realized I don't think I want to do this attorney thing no more, because one, it's really difficult to change the law, even from the inside. And 2, now I'm getting a full experience of the criminal justice system from the opposite end. And it kind of changed the trajectory. It did change the trajectory of my entire career. I still went to UMass Boston for criminal justice, graduated and all of that. Actually got, period, because, you know, UMB is my alumni, my alma mater. But I did get accepted into Suffolk University. And my Professor Eric Balone, I'll never forget this man. He is a godsend. He ended up leaving RCC to go to Suffolk Law. And I remember they gave me a full scholarship, but pay $4,000 up front for the 2 years that I would be in school, for the 4 years that I would be in school. So if you think about it, it was $1,000 out of my pocket for each year that I would be in law school. And I went to him because Tim's arrest was very, very public. That was the other part. Like, it was in the newspapers and everything. So he had heard about it, and I had called him, and I was like, not only do I feel embarrassed, but like I feel weird going into law school and doing this now that this is out here. And I also didn't have the money. And Eric Balone was like, Amanda, if you could come up with $2,000, I will pay the other $2,000 that you need to get into stuff. I had never had anybody like in support of me to that level before. But I couldn't come up with the $2,000. So I had called him back and I was like, listen, I truly appreciate you, but I think I'm just going to go to UMass Boston because it's more cost effective for me. And that's what I did. I finished my degree, but as I was in college, I was working as like a billing manager. So I started doing some light accounting and things like that, which ended up being my career for the next 10 years, where I'm working as an accountant on like a CPA level with no CPA, got to one of the most highest departments I could possibly get to with a really big conglomerate. I'm not going to name them now, but they're a big conglomerate right next to Haymarket. And I became an accounting manager with a team under me of like 15.
Oh my gosh.
I had my own office and everything, but it was weird. It was almost like once I got to one of the highest levels I could get to without the education or anything, that's when full-time artistry started hitting me. I was at open mics a lot. We were still doing Dudley Cafe. I'm still moving around. I'm managing Anson Raps at the time. Now everything just busted open, and I'm like, I don't think I want to be an accountant anymore. And stopped. I was like, I'm gonna quit this job, which probably wasn't the smartest thing for me looking back, because I was making like $100,000 a year. Quit my job with no plan B, no plan C, nothing.
Wow.
Became an Uber driver and a Lyft driver, and started working the circuit and going to as many open mics as I possibly could, and hustled before I could actually put that stuff down and be the Amanda Shea that y'all know now. Like where I'm paying my bills solely off of art.
That part. I'm gonna get into that in a second, but I also want to highlight, like, this is all putting so much context around the fact that, like, you are so much more than a performer. Like, I feel like people still don't quite understand all of the work that you do, and it's not like a lot of it is heavy curation and organization and like top level business stuff. And you know, not every artist has that kind of brain, that like balance of left and right to do both. But it's really special, and it's one of your superpowers, the fact that you navigate both of those worlds so seamlessly. And now, like, I didn't have all those pieces that this all makes so much sense.
I thank you for this conversation, because we're sisters for real. So if it wasn't for the comfortability and the safety that you provide, I don't tell these stories very publicly at all. I feel like they're long and they're drawn out, but it's important to know where people come from, because everybody be thinking like, oh, you're an overnight sensation, or these things are like, no, bro. Like, one of my biggest interviews that I've ever had, which was Pebbles, Boston, for 96.9. That interview was going down.
Oh, wow.
And people would see me in the streets. This was 2019. People would see me in the streets and be like, oh my God, I heard you on Pebbles. And I'm like, bro, 3 days prior to that interview, I was going into a shelter because Tim had hurt himself on the job and mangled his hand in a pasta maker. They had prescribed him opiates, and he became a heroin addict within 6 months, that fast. So I lost everything, like every single thing that I thought I had at that time. It was not what it was. Initially we broke up in or I should say separated in 2016. But by 2019 of being out here in these streets and trying to hustle and be a mom and pay market rent, it had just came crashing down. He was this was his 5th time in a recovery. And he had called me and was like, I'm in New Hampshire, in this recovery home. I am going to try to get sober. It's a 60-day program. You won't have any contact with me, but I am safe and I'm okay. And literally hung up the phone. And I was just like, well, what the hell am I supposed to be doing? But me and Jaden ended up going into a shelter. We were there for a year. So all of COVID, I was in a shelter, but all these accolades and acknowledgments and things were happening. So I felt very fraudulent. There's something that happens to your ego when you lose everything. You start to feel like, yo, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough. It's a very depressive space to be in. But it was weird because it was also balanced with all this career stuff that was still happening. And it's like, how are these things still happening when the world is shut down? You know, there were no more stages to go on. You know what I mean? Everybody was trying to do Zoom. And to be honest, that was a hard space to be in too, because literally, right as I'm going into the shelter in Pebbles, Boston is happening. I'm in DC, which is a full circle moment because I'm in the same area I was, performing for places like the Kennedy Center and the Peace Institute.
Wow.
This was February 27th. And then boom, March 15th, the world was shut down. 2020, COVID hit. And I'm in the shelter like, well, now what? Because I don't know what to do. But it gave me a lot of time to, do the shadow work I needed to do, not only around the industry, but around my own self-esteem. And it also gave me an idea as far as like an artist to be like, well, how can I be present without being present? So the book, the album, I have a spoken word poetry album that I released. Where are we at in 2025? I did my first show for that in 2023, of November of 2023. Yeah, because my nephew was, no, I'm sorry, 2021. So 2021, I'm working on a book that's still not out yet because I'm still in my head about it, but the book is coming very, very soon. So it just allowed me to have these other ways of like, if there's not a stage, how can people still consume my art through this lens if I'm not in the space? So it was a beautiful experience, but it was a very hard and challenging space to be in. Unfortunately, in November 5th, of 2021, so the show was in 2022, excuse me, but in 2021, Tim ended up overdosing and died. So that was a lot to go through at that time, and also watching your kids grieve, this death too, and also have to be the person to take care of all of the arrangements for that, which I didn't realize death was so arbitrary. Like we don't own our bodies even in transition. Like it has to be released from the state.
Wow.
Which is a poem within and of itself, which I'm still trying to work on about how, we come into this world, we're assigned a social security number.
Yeah.
We are literally a walking institution after that. And I don't think we realize that.
Yeah. I thank you for sharing. Thank you for feeling comfortable with being vulnerable in this space. And I know there's a lot of love coming through in the chat as well.
I'm seeing it, so thank y'all.
I'm gonna head in a different direction than I initially outlined, because I feel inspired and I feel called to go in this direction. I think the role, out of all of the roles that you play, the one I'm thinking about is what it really means to be a community organizer, and the sacrifice that comes with being a community leader, and how difficult that is to like constantly show up for others and pour so much into other people, even during these really difficult moments. Like how do you navigate that, and how have you navigated that role in these moments where like it's very clear that you need to show up for yourself, but at the same time it's like you're constantly expected to show up for community?
I'm gonna cry because I feel like I'm still trying to balance it, to be completely transparent. I think as a kid, and if anybody understands addiction and growing up in that environment, it's challenging. You feel abandoned even when your parents are home. You don't feel seen, you don't feel heard. I wanted to be a gymnast. I'm really going to show my age with this, but Dominique Dawes was one of the first Black gymnasts that was killing the game in my day, and I really wanted to model her career. I really wanted to be an athlete.
Wow.
I ran track. I wanted to be a gymnast. Like anything that had to do with being active, that was me. They called me a tomboy back in the day, because I was very rough and rugged around the edges. Wasn't wearing dresses, which also led to me understanding like my queerness when I got older. But I'll never.
That's the size.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, you feel what I'm saying? But at the time, we're in the 80s, and being gay was really difficult to be out loud and proud in that. Um, Not only that, but I'm growing up in the crack and AIDS epidemic as well. So being, um, and
Mm.
you know, it was really, really difficult because at the time, the LGBTQIA community was being blamed for, you know, the AIDS epidemic,
Yeah.
you know, and people just really were uneducated and unfortunately still very much uneducated even now in today's age, and we're in 2020, almost 2026. But for me, my parents never really supported any of the things that I was really into. So I think that's what allows me as an adult now to pour into people no matter what. You know, Mello Jones last night was making fun of me because he was like, "You do not know how to have quick conversations with people." He was like, after shows, like you be sitting there talking to the same person for like 10, 20 minutes. And last night I had a real breakthrough moment with a couple of artists where it's like, nah, the portal is open. Like when the portal is open, that's when you pour. So I feel like if somebody comes up to me and they start telling me about something, or because that's vulnerable, you know,
Right.
it's my duty to share and hold that space for them, I feel like. And maybe that stems again from me feeling like I'm not being seen, I'm not being heard, and I'm not being understood. So because I come from that background as a kid feeling like that, I think that's what allows me to pour even when my cup is empty, which doesn't even make any sense, because like how can you fully give if you have nothing to give? But
Yep.
again, I'm gonna keep saying God, whether people are religious or not.
Yep.
I also practice Buddhism, so I'm a Buddhista. So people, you know, I believe in the universal law of treating everybody like with kindness. Period. I don't care what you look like, who you are, what age demographic you come from. We just gotta just treat people with kindness and understand that not everybody looks like what they're going through. Because I know when I was going through the worst of the worst moments in my life, people did not see that. So I feel like that's the space where I'll just keep giving and giving and giving. And sometimes, yes, it's very draining. And I'm still trying to find balance in that. Like, it's a real thing, but I feel like as long as I have breath in my lungs and I have blood pumping through my lifelines, I have to be the lifeline for other folks too.
Mm. I'll be praying for you. That's
Thank you.
one, first of all.
Thank you.
I pray that God already knows. And I'm in the same boat. When I say God, I mean whatever source, whatever word you use to identify the creator. But I know that God has chosen you to do this type of work, and it is a very heavy assignment, but he would not have put that in you. He would not have vested that in you if he did not know that you were capable. And I know very well that the energy source, the tank that you need in order to do this, he's not going to let that go empty. He's not going to let that run dry. So
Likewise.
I have full faith.
Likewise.
I'm speaking that life and that light into you, and I want to ask maybe a slightly like unorthodox question, but because in my eyes, like, we don't have community, and of course I'm speaking for Boston specifically. We don't have community without our organizers. We don't have our community without the countless people like you and Dart and Janae and everybody else who is creating these spaces for us to even build and exist as community. What do you need? What do you need from us? What do you need from community? Like, how can we feed into you to make sure that, like, we don't ever lose you?
Mm. Hmm. That's a beautiful question. I think first and foremost, you're doing it by creating platforms like this where people can really understand behind the scenes, um, talking to people who are considered movers and shakers, cultural change makers. Um, I think for me, the only ask that I have is stop competing and comparing.
Mm.
I think that's the only thing that I would want from folks that are doing this work. I feel like when we ostracize, when we click up, when we compete with other people, that makes people like me's job a lot harder because we have to break all that up. And we're over here trying to bring everybody together, and there's like forces that are like this. And it's like, that's challenging and it's exhausting. I also think remembering that we're human. There's been a lot of times, even with Janae and I have spoken about this on my podcast called Narratives in Black. And, you know, it's hard because sometimes we don't have the energy, but we're still going to be present. And people sometimes get a different read from us, like we think we're better than, or we're stuck up, or we're being rude, or we're arrogant. And it's like, but you don't see the other 5 things that we just came from and how much we had to pull ourselves to get here. That that assumption is not conducive to what we're trying to do. So before you sit here and judge, or again, like the clicks is what's killing us, you know, be more inclusive, and also, again, be kind, because you have no idea. I've seen Janae do 5, 6, 7 events in one day. Same, you know, and I've watched how her energy has shifted, and I'll see her, but I know her on a personal level, and that's another thing. Get to know the person. Like, don't get to just know our work or be like, oh, Amanda does free verses, this is dope, let me go. But nah, like, get to know us, because I feel like sometimes it's easier for people to just see what you do for work and don't understand why you do what you do, or who you are as a person. And sometimes that gets a bad rep. Like, people all the time, like, I'll come to other cities and people literally call me the mayor of Boston. It's insane. It's a little, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. But people, like, I was in Baltimore and they were like, the mayor of Boston. And I'm like, who the fuck? Who are you talking about? And I'm like, Baltimore? How do you even know this?
Wow.
But word travels fast. But what weight that puts on me to represent a whole city of people that, you know, may or may not be aligned in how I move or how I navigate. You know, I was telling a couple of people last night, Jay Smooth and Mellow Jones, like, y'all, everybody be thinking that I'm loved everywhere, and I am not. I'm not. And that's okay. I don't think as community we're supposed to like everyone or get along with everyone and hold hands and be kumbaya. That's not realistic. Not every energy is supposed to be a synergetic exchange, and that's fine. But basic respect. We can still respect people for just being people. We don't have to like them. I can't tell you how many times I've booked people that I really technically don't care for as people. Like, we just don't vibe like that. And that's okay. But that doesn't dismiss their talent and who they are as people. Or there are event spaces that I will never walk into. No shade, no tea. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not for me. That's not where my energy wants to be. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to not tell people to go to their event. They might get something. That might be the energy that they need. They might get something from that. Now, I'm never going to tell nobody to go to something that I don't feel or deem safe. But if I just don't like this organizer, that's cool. But you could still go to their event and they're dope, and learn how not to talk shit about people. Like, there are people that really are very openly public that they don't fuck with me, and that's cool. But, like, if you ask me about them, I'd be like, yeah, I know them. Like, they do good work in the city. You ain't got to sit there and bash people. You don't. And that's what I need from people. I'm not saying walk around here fake and phony and go hug everybody, because we all know I'm a hugger. Like, I'm not saying all that. But what I am saying is, don't sit there and ostracize somebody else's experience just because of your own. And don't try to rip people apart when you really don't know who they are or why they do what they do. You can still be supportive without having to physically support. Period. That's just how I feel. If not, then you're going to have people like myself leave. And you've seen that. You've seen artists do it where they were like, I ain't getting no love from the city. You know what I'm saying? You've seen like major people that I felt like really changed the landscape in Boston go to other cities, and they're doing great things in those cities. But I'm like, damn, if we would have just wrapped our arms around them, or at least not bring them down all the way, they would still be able to be in our city doing good work. Why did we lose this person? Because we couldn't appreciate them for what they were doing while they were here. It's like death, like we don't be giving people flowers until they're gone. And I just don't get that. The sun doesn't wake up every day and say, I'm going to shine just on Amanda Shea. No. It don't just pick me, it picks us all. So what you bring to the table in your light, you don't got to dim or diminish anybody else's in order to feel more superior. In fact, it makes you look more inferior to them, to be honest with you. I usually tell people, when you don't like someone, it's usually something in them that you have in yourself that you're not willing to face. We're all, when I walk around and be like, I'm a mirror reflection, or I'm a reflection. I always say that to people in my comments. I'm a reflection. If you love me for real and you like what I do, that means you are of the same energy. You know and you recognize, because that's you. But if you hating on somebody, 9 times out of 10 is because you feel inferior in yourself, or you lack. And instead of just asking them how they got to where they got to, or befriending that, you'd rather talk shit about it. It's crazy to me. I like to be around people who challenge me and make me feel, I don't want to say intimidated, but admiration and intimidation is a very, very thin line. I can admire someone, but also be intimidated by them too. But I like to make friends with that, because I'm like, you might be able to teach me something about myself that I don't know. Period. Let go of ego. It shouldn't even exist, honestly. Not all ego is good ego, and nothing but certain egos will keep you operating in the same space because you don't want to conquer that. We all have shadow work that we need to do. Work on that. It's a word today. Like, work on that.
Oh,
I'm
word.
I'm no better than nobody else. I still have bad moments. I still treat some of the people that are the closest to me the worst, which is really interesting, because I will treat strangers like kindred family, and sometimes I'll treat the people who are right next to me really shitty. And it's because they can see me, they know me, right? That doesn't make it right. I'm not perfect. I still have flaws, and I still got stuff to work on too. But I think we all need to practice discernment. That's first and foremost.
Absolutely. I want
Ego
to
turns into
highlight
cognitive dissonance and blocks blessings. Absolutely. That's
part.
the word right there. Ego turns into cognitive dissonance and blocks blessings. It does every single time. So if you think you're not blocking a blessing, you are. And in a city that's so small like Boston. And honestly, I shouldn't say that. The world is small. Once you start moving around, you start to realize that, like, we're all literally connected. It's an invisible thread. You never know who knows who. So that's why I always tell people, treat like the janitor, really good, because you don't know in the next 10 years
You never
the
know.
president or the CEO of the company. Just saying.
Not for real. Dexter also said, people like you are necessary. There have definitely been times you've helped me lean into that willingness to help, even when I don't have a lot to give, and I don't regret it.
I love you, Dex.
It's the way that your impact travels so far. Even with, bless the people who actually tell you. Bless the people who actually come back and they tell you that, but I can't imagine how many people you might not ever hear from, but they have been changed. Even within this stream, like, there are people who are going to walk away with a changed mindset, with a changed heart posture, in the wise words of Maystar. I want to ask.
I love that man, by the way.
Yes.
I love him. I love Dex too. An amazing. There's so much talent here. There's so many true gems in the city. Just
so many.
Maystar is lit. I think fatherhood also, Like, I don't know what that is when we have children, but
Mm.
just watching him grow into fatherhood, such a beautiful thing. Just watching this black man love on his little black boy. It's so beautiful to see. So shout out to him. That's my guy.
Shout out Maystar. No, we love Starsky. I know it's 3:20 and we got like 10 minutes before we have to dip. Again, if anybody has any specific questions, I saw somebody earlier wanted to join the live, but it was like right when we started, so I wanted to give us a little bit of time. But if anybody wants to hop on, please feel
Yeah, I'm
free.
actually. So my people's is over here knocked out, so we got time. I was kind of rushing because I was like, we're gonna go do dinner, and it's like we just had some incredible bagels
Okay.
downstairs. Okay, they were bussing. Okay, the best bagels are from New York. I don't care. I don't care what nobody say, but DC. Oh no, they might have took the cake on that one. So they're not like literally snoring. I'm surprised y'all don't hear it, but
I'm
literally snoring.
dead.
So we got time. No rush. No rush.
Okay,
Let's end
say
it
no more.
organically.
Say no more. Listen, you know me with my questions.
Come on with it. Come on with it. Come on
I
with
could
it.
go
I'm ready.
forever. Um,
Same.
I I want to dig into this, like the foundational pieces of what's holding this city back, because there's so many different nuances to this greater issue. There's like all the way up to government and capital and funding, but then when you trickle it all the way down, at least from what I've been noticing and understanding, there is this like just like basic human interaction pieces, or like basic like mindset, like how we choose to move and perceive each other, that's not there. And even if we
Mhm.
got all the funding in the world, if that doesn't progress, then we're going to be in the same cycle over and over again. So I guess in your eyes, this piece of like this piece, like PEACE, this piece that you're talking about, like what specifically with this city, from what you've seen, what is the wall that's in between us and getting over to that other side of like what peace and just like actual pure community looks like?
I
What has
think
been stopping us from getting there?
hmm, you mentioned a really key piece of that, and it's definitely funding, right? So, as we saw in our political climate, like we have somebody in office who thinks it's super cute to diminish all of the hard work that our ancestors have fought for. And I knew it was coming, but I just didn't know how bad it was going to be. I think this is probably worse than what I imagined.
Mm.
And this isn't to attack anybody who voted for whoever you voted for, but I implore everybody to always look at our political climate because it does affect us. When the Roe versus Wade got rolled back, I was like, "Ooh, we're in trouble." Because if they're starting with, women's wombs, right,
Mm.
and the right to decide what we do with our bodies, what's that gonna translate into for my other community, the LGBTQIA, which now we see with like PrEP and T, and just medical care in the first place. Now we're seeing the laws of if you are 19 and below, you can't be on T medicine or any hormone medicine or have any procedures.
Oh wow.
And so I say all that to say, and then we see affirmative action get rolled back, right? Which I have thoughts on that, which I feel like that's too long of a soapbox conversation to have right now. But they rolled back that. They also rolled back DEI, and
Mm.
then they started banning books.
Yep.
This has been a thing. They have been banning books, and then on top of it, they're starting to take away all arts and culture funding. If you look at all of those things, even just as separate as they are, but then look at them from a collective space, that is a very definitive plan of like what they think matters.
Mm-hmm.
When and that's what slavery is, right? Like it's not just being enslaved and enchained, it's also the mind.
Mm.
So if you can trap that and keep people in this rat race, then what would they strive for to try to go against that sense of power, right? So for me, I think the biggest thing that we can do is, again, I'm going to keep saying this, stop being competitive. And, you know, we see that even with the youth organizations where we're all allotted a certain amount of funding. There's a certain amount of funding. And just to break this down for people who do not know, so say there's $100,000, which is a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But there's 50 different youth organizations that need that funding. So even if, which they don't, split it evenly, that's a little bit of money. But when we are competitive, that makes that so much worse. When we are dogging each other out and being like, well, I deserve, it's like, no, but you do something, your specialty is in this for this particular thing. And this person's specialty is this and this particular thing. Why are we not sharing resources? Why are we not being more collaborative? It's that same energy of like, there can only be one and I have to be the best.
Right.
No, I think we should be working together more, because the more we can bring in those collective numbers, the more funding we can potentially get together, as opposed to getting it separately and individually. I always think about long-term things when I'm thinking an impact, right? Because people be calling me like an influencer. They'd be like, oh, you're like an influencer. And I'm like, I like the word impactor. Because you'll always remember who impacted you and why forever. I still remember my first grade teacher, Mrs. Smith, telling me I wasn't going to be shit. I'm grown now. You know what I'm saying? But I remember that because it left an impact on me. Like, I'm going to show this lady, even in the first grade, that I'm going to be something. You feel what I'm saying? You always remember that. Influence, it's nice, right? You get influenced by something, but that can trail off. Like, once the person is no longer there, the influence wears off. It wears off, but impact doesn't. So why wouldn't you want to impact the most? Like, Emmanuel, I'm going into philosophy now, but Emmanuel Kant said one of my favorite principles, where it's called the utilitarianism theory, right? And the way Eric Ballone, notice how his name came up, he had asked us a question. He was like, imagine there's a school bus and it has 30 kids on it and 2 adults on it. There's 32 people in total, and it's about to go over the cliff. What do you do? Now, if somebody just gets off that bus, right, to make the weight kind of even out, who would go? And how would you decide who would go? But if you don't decide who's going to go, you all going to go over that cliff. And everybody in class was like darting up their hands and saying all these answers. And I just was listening. And then finally he called on me and he was like, you know, what do you think, Amanda? And I said, the oldest adult on the bus. And then he was like, why? And I was like, well, I don't know how old the adults are, but say one of them was 19 and one of them was 53. I would say the 53-year-old needs to go. And he was like, why? And I was like, well, 1, they've lived the most life at that point. And 2, we have to sacrifice 1 for all the others. And I don't think people live by that. They think about themselves. So if you sit there on that bus and being like, well, I shouldn't go, well, then we're all going to die. And guess what happens? One of those kids that's on that bus could have been the one to solve, cure cancer, cure HIV, change the world. We don't know. Their life is so precious and it hasn't really been lived yet. So it's like, we have to sacrifice 1 for the great. I'm always about what's for the greater good. What's going to benefit us for longevity purposes. I'm not just trying to host a mic to have a mic. I want to have a mic that's going to be long-standing, where people feel like this is a safe space and that this is their home. And when things are so dreary and dull in their life, that they still have a space that they can be themselves and feel seen. That's the purpose. It's not for the accolade or winning best open mic, which we did in best Boston in like 2026. I hope they didn't win that award. It's cool to get the accolades, but that doesn't define what you're trying to do, because if y'all don't support, then there is no longevity. We gotta like get out of our own way And Dex just said it too. It's like you're constantly reaching back for folks, and that's love. And I feel like
Yeah.
because nobody was reaching, excuse me, my phone was like, we're dying. Nobody reached for me when I was going through the things that I was going through. I felt like I was on this island by myself, and I had to figure it out. We're not alone, and we're not supposed to be in this world to be alone. You see that even in the prison system. When you put somebody in solitary confinement, it affects them emotionally and mentally, not just physically. So that tells you that we need each other for that human engagement, that human interaction, that human touch, that education. That is what's important to us. We need that. So how could you ever think that it's just you? So it's weird to me that conglomerates think the same thing. Like, oh, it's just us. We got
It's
to do
lonely at the top.
it's lonely at the top. And another thing is, people with the most money be the most miserable people because they don't have nobody to share it with because they were nasty to jump all over people. Our society teaches us dog eat dog. You need to run this rat race because if you don't, there's somebody behind you that's going to take your spot. I don't believe in that at all. I'd rather share than to be very much selfish. That don't work for me at all. And I have young people, babies, that are also paying attention to what I'm doing. I don't want to set that example for them. That's
Absolutely.
not it.
It's such an interesting case with I don't know. I haven't spent enough time in the other major markets, you know, like in LA or New York to like really see if this also exists on a large scale, but it seems like, especially with the, you know, obviously Boston isn't really recognized, so there's already this innate feeling of like, oh my gosh, like I want to be the one to put us on the map, and I want to be, you know, there's already this innate like narcissism slash like nationalism from a city standpoint that's there. Do you think like how do we on a mindset level, like how do we get over that? Because it's easier said than done. Like I fully resonate because I believe there are certain people who, you know, we all come into this world as like a blank slate, right? And I believe we all come in with love and light, and we don't really know the counter to that. And y'all can fight me on that, but I've never seen no evil baby. That's just me. But sometimes like a lot of like what's beautiful is like your experiences, like you just said, you didn't have anybody reach out for you. That could have easily turned you into a bitter person and made you want to do the exact opposite of what you're doing right now.
Dude, can we talk about it for like a split second? I was a very mean child growing up. Like I was not nice. And like I was the complete opposite of what I am. I was holding so much bitterness and so much feeling alone that if now my best friends may be on this live that have grown up with me. I've had the same best friends since kindergarten. Erica LaRanger, shout out to her, and Heather Drown since middle school. So they know the Amanda for real outside of just like the artistry, right? And I always go to them to like remember myself, like, because this industry can taint you sometimes and make you forget what you really in this doing. And they'd be like, girl, I remember when we would be walking right down the street and somebody would look at you wrong. I was a fighter. And it was because I had so much anger. I didn't know what to do with. And really, I was just fighting
I
myself.
can't see it.
I know, but I was out here whooping ass, like for no reason. Like it was not okay. Like a girl would literally be admiring something that I would have on. And I would be like, bitch, what the fuck you looking at? And I would go fight her. Like literally. And my mom, it's so funny because my mom said this to me earlier. She was like, you're such a different person than who you used to be. And I was like, because I was mad at you and I don't think I had the words to express my anger of how I was raised and how I felt neglected and abandoned all at the same time. And then on top of it, not having a huge support system. To give some context, people ask me all the time, like, what does it feel like? And I had this as an assignment for Be Heard World when I was on tour with them, and they were like, can you speak about, what racism feels like for you in America? And I was like, in America, it was in my own family. So I'm Portuguese. My family is from Azores, Cape Verdean, Puerto Rican, and Caribbean. So my father's side, my real father's side, my biological father's side. Let me not say real father, because just because you got kids don't mean you're dead. So my biological father, I used to call him Jail Dad, and I remember Mello being like, why are you calling him that? And I'm like, well, he's been in jail all my life, so technically he's my jail.
Oh my goodness.
But we've abandoned that since, because I'm just like, I gotta stop naming this like this. But I remember talking to him and him telling me, like, he was born in Puerto Rico and his father's from there, and my grandmother is from the Virgin Islands. But at the time, this is when I was like 37 that I'm finding all these things out about who I was as my identity. But when I was growing up, my mom's side, predominantly Portuguese, they were racist. And if you look at the history, which I finally did, I'm like, oh, this makes sense, because the Portuguese were the first enslavers before the Europeans. Talk about it. They learned a lot from Portuguese people and how they were treating Cape Verdeans, how they were treating Africans, dark skin, or, darker Portuguese people, because there are dark-skinned Portuguese people.
Yep.
So it's like they enslaved us first. So I experienced racism from my own family. I'm also a product of a teenage pregnancy. My mom was only 15 when she had me. So this makes sense when I'm looking at my mom's life. And I think it took me to be a mom myself to really, and Matt Ganem as well, to really make me see my parents as people and not just my parents.
Yeah.
So when I started looking at that, and I'm like, well, wait, I got pregnant at 19. I had my first child when I was 20 years old. My mom was only a kid having a kid. They wanted her to abort me. They wanted her to adopt me. They even sent her to a teen pregnancy home. It sent my mom to a home for pregnant teens. Like, my mom didn't even stay in her house while she was having me. So I think about all that energy that my mom was holding as a child, being scared, but also being very, very much like, I'm having her. What that meant for her to stand in her truth and mean it and stand up for herself, even at the young age of 15. So, like, do I blame my mom? I get it now. And then to not have the support from your family, because my grandmother, her mother, broke the chain of marrying the same race. My mom's mom did that. So she had my mom with a Cape Verdean man, and that was a no-go. But my mom is very, what they would call, white passing. So it was a little bit more acceptable, even though they treated her like the black sheep. But then when she had me, who has evident melanin in her tone, it was like, yeah, nah, we ain't supporting none of this shit.
Wow.
And then my mom, to add some context, born in 1968, at 15 years old, it's 1983. I was born in 84. So it's like, when you look at the era of where we are, and my mom is from the South, my family is from the South, South Carolina. We're Gullah Geechee. The history, and even that, it's like, bruh. My mom, my grandmother, and my grandfather weren't even allowed to walk down the same streets in the South together. Nonetheless, have a child.
Jeez.
So you got to think about the energy. All of this is I'm being incubated in. All of this energy of not being wanted before I'm even out in the world. That was hard. So I think because of those reasons is why I'm a person who's like, nah, I gotta pour, because I don't know who else feels like that. So when Dexter says you're constantly reaching back for folks, that's why. Because imagine if I'm who I am today like this, with all of that, imagine what I would have had with just a little bit of support. Just imagine. Just imagine. You think I'm dope now? Shit. Might have been, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not mad at that, you know? I'm not mad at that. Like, everything happens for the reason it's designed, the way that it's designed.
Absolutely.
But I also believe that God had me that entire time. Because how do you go from being in a womb like that and all these things are constantly against you to then be brought into this 3D from the 5D? And then being in the ways in which that I am now and being allotted, I know that I'm divinely protected. I've been divinely protected since conception, if we're going to keep it a buck. God knew I was meant to be here. That's why that conviction was put into my mother to still fight to have me.
Oof, amen.
I say amen.
Amen.
And that's how I feel about everybody. I don't think I'm better or worse than anybody, and I don't put nobody on no pedestals either. I think we're all human beings. There's no there's no tier levels to me. So when I meet some of my heroes in real life, which I have, you know, I've congregated and have been allotted opportunities to perform with celebrities, it'd be scary because who they sometimes portray themselves to be, they're not when you come up close to them. And that also reminds me to not be on that type of time, because people will allow their level of success and their economic status to get to their ego and treat people like they're less than. And I've been in rooms like that. And I've also watched people decide what people they want to act like that too, which is also insane. So I'm like, oh, so you're going to treat this person bad. Like, because you have respect for this person, you're going to treat them bad. It's weird to me. It's weird. I'm like, it's not that deep. It's really not that. It's not, and you know, because you know, you've seen what I'm talking about. It's like, and that be the thing that keeps me also regulated, because I'd be like, bruh, now you know.
And you sense it before, because you Amanda with energy, you don't have to say anything or even use your body. She will sense it.
And I may not speak on it. And that's the crazy thing. People be like, you don't be saying nothing. And I'm like, because I don't have to.
Yeah.
I feel, I'm a huge empath. Like, I'm a huge empath. So I feel it. I feel it before anybody even says anything. But also, if you just have a conversation with people and you allow them to speak, a lot of the time these people be telling themselves. So you just got to listen. You got to listen intently. And because we live in a society where it's, you know, somebody said to me, and shout out to Rise Felicia, who's another poet from New York City, and she said some really incredible thing to me the other day, and she was like, you know, I noticed that you talk really fast when you speak, but when you do poetry, you take your time and you're so slow. And I was like, damn, does that mean that I'm way more intentional when sharing my art because I'm allowing God to take over than what I am in regular conversation with people?
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it hit different. I was like, maybe I should slow down a little bit. And just, you know, some of my heroes in the city, or sheroes, whatever you want to call it, I don't really subscribe to gender, so I'm just going to say the word. Some of the people that I look up to for real are Kat Morris. Even though she's younger than me, she's definitely one of my mentors. Kat Morris, Letta Neely is definitely one of them. Ife Franklin, definitely another one of them. Yeah, those are the top three. Giselle Bird is one, who again is a little younger than me, but I don't think age has anything to do with wisdom. Again, like I said to you at the beginning of this call, it's like, that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I look up, there are people that I look up to that I'm like, even if I'm older, the ways in which that y'all navigate the world is a beautiful thing. You're on that list. it is literally the ways that y'all navigate this world that I'm like, I'm in good company. You know, these are
Mm.
legends in our city of Boston. And if you just take the time to have a conversation with them, Letta Neely is probably one of my biggest because I've never seen her really get upset or distraught with folks. I've never seen it.
Wow.
She has so much grace for people. And I'd be like, Letta, I'm so sorry. She's like, it's okay. Like, are you okay? Did you eat,
Mm.
drink today? I'm not disappointed in you. You have to take care of yourself. And I'm like, but I didn't come to the thing. And she's like, that's okay. As long as you are okay with you, that's all I care about. And
Wow. That's God.
I'd be
Mm.
like, how does she move? And now I may never achieve or aspire to be that level of calm and graceful. It might not happen. But it's such a great, beautiful blessing and reminder that it exists.
Yeah.
It exists.
Can you speak to, as a great segue, like, can you just speak to what you're seeing now? And, there's a lot to be done, but I'm sure, especially in the 10 years that you've been here, like, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen in the scene and the community as a whole?
10 years as an artist, but 20 years now at this point, 2006, we're almost in 2026. It's been almost 20 years I've been here.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, that's half my life.
Wow.
Give me 2.5 seconds so I can get my charger and then re-ask me that question.
Yeah, do your thing, do your thing. Not me failing on math. That's definitely 2 decades. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's been 20 years, girl. 20 years. This is perfect how this worked out too, because I can plug this in right from where I'm at and I don't even gotta move in the hotel room. This is great.
Beautiful.
Success. Um, we love when it works out.
Right.
What was the question again?
Um, yeah, just continuing on that last note of like the positive changes that you've been seeing in the city over these past 2 decades.
First of all, we are very much more community driven right now. I think when I first came here, everything was very, very siloed. Like Cambridge stayed in Cambridge, Boston, Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, Rosendale, Hyde Park stayed where they were at. Um, Cat Morris just said, "Love this for you" on one of my posts on Facebook. You see how look at how energy works. So I just said her name.
Insane.
Manifestation is real, but we'll talk about that in a second. I think for me, what I've seen change is one, funding. I don't care what you feel about Governor Healy, Lieutenant Driscoll, Mayor Wu. I don't care what anybody has to say. You have to give them their flowers because they have put money into the arts and culture sector that they did not have to do. And I'm not shading nobody when I say this, but there were previous mayors and governors who took those resources away. So to see them
Mm.
re-implemented in that way is such a beautiful thing. So funding definitely changed. I think our voices have been more comfortable to be amplified. The Dark Adams of the world, the Janaes, the Cats, the Yous of the world are able to amplify and be like, listen, we got to do better, and have created that change. I think, especially in hip hop, I remember a time before COVID where hip hop wasn't even on that type of time here in the city. It was
Mm.
viewed as problematic to do shows out here because the police would be either very heavily present, or they would say absolutely not because they thought that hip hop brought a certain violent
Mm.
or negative connotations to the city. So to see that we're in Paradise Rock, to see that we're at the Rockwood, to see that we're at the House of Blues, um, to see us in these spaces at the MGM, and not just big names, but people like us, I think that has been so dope to
Mm.
witness. And especially in 2019, where I feel like before COVID, the insurgence of female hip hop, the Oompas of the world, the Red Shades of the world, the Brady Blazes of the world, the Cake Swags of the world, to then from them having to, and Mona Valley, from them, and there's so many I could name, Dutch Rebel, to watch them usher in and break these like these doors open, bust them wide open, to be able to have the Isha from 978, to having the Key, to having Sosa, to having these other young up and coming rappers be like, nah, I'm here. That to me has been a huge difference. Poetry too. Being able to see all of the poetry communities being able to, come together, and even if it's spoken word or if it's slam, for us, I have to shout out Miles Taylor for this, because when they were at Freeverse, somebody had asked, like in the crowd, like, is there a difference between spoken word and slam? And I just looked at Miles from across the room from the mic, and we both went like this, and I was like, there is no difference. One is more of a competitive sport where you're timed and things like that, and you are face to face in a battle with people. But it's all the same thing. We're at the mic telling our vulnerability and our personal journeys through poetry. It's not different. But at a time, we were in a space of like, nah, you're a slam poet, you're a spoken word artist. Also shout out to Portia O for opening like the house slam at the Haley House. And then like shout out to Oompa for doing the rap slam at the Haley House. Like also Stone Soup, Soup Poets for being in the Dudley Cafe. Like you literally have to look back before you can say what the future is going to look like. But because of all the groundwork that these folks have done, that's changed our ecosystem. I think now what's happening, especially with funding, where we see a bunch of artists getting these grants, it feeds the ecosystem, because 9 times out of 10, an artist is going to hire another artist, period, point blank, or artists, period, point blank, to be a part of their production. So now it's almost like seedlings. So now you're like pollinating all of the flowers that are around you so that they can blossom too. And that's what we need to see. Creating platforms at GBH for Outspoken Saturdays, that wasn't an easy feat. Most people don't even know how that came about. Jeannie Nunes called me and was like, hey, GBH is looking for a poet to commemorate the MLK, and regardless how you feel about that, the MLK and the Coretta statue at the Embrace. They need somebody to come in and do a poem. And I'm like, girl, this is somebody I looked up to. I'm like, why are you not doing it? And she was like, Amanda, I'm just not in the space to perform. But I said to them, I know the perfect person to do it. So I went there. It was a great experience. They told me it was not a paid opportunity, but I took it anyways. And what I did was I leveraged it. I said, all right, I did this for y'all for free, right? Okay, cool. Love that for us. But in exchange, instead of dollars, I need y'all to create a platform for poetry where other poets can get on the stage. Because it builds their resume. When other places see even an emerging poet has a national recognized platform on their resume, that opens doors for them to perform anywhere else, even if this is the one place that they've performed. And I've watched it. People judge you off of your applications and your resume, which is sad, but we live in a society where accreditation and all those things matter. Nah, let's make a platform. And the poets every month are always upset because they're like, I thought you were going to perform. And I'm like, this is not the space for you to pick up. This was created for y'all to take advantage of. I'm hosting it, yes, and I don't feel like I need to take up any more space by doing a poem every single show. Not all curators believe in that. We be going back and forth. There's one in particular I will not name that's like, no, if I made the space, I'm gonna take up the space and I'm gonna host and I'm gonna curate and I'm gonna found and I'm gonna perform. And I'm like, but that's not what what are you doing this for?
Oh
And
gosh.
why would I take up space from another person who needs the space?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So these are in nothing, nothing. They not gonna like that I said it, but I gotta tell the truth the way I say it. But it was not easy fighting for this platform behind closed doors. I be
Mm.
in meetings with people that it can be a little, disturbing. And also like be in meetings with people who are trying to blackball other people because they don't like them. And I'd be like, bro, this is not what we're doing. We can't
Yeah.
do stuff like this. And me and Ariel Gray have a really beautiful conversation about all of this on Narratives in Black on YouTube right now. It is a podcast that I shoot with A&I Productions. I am a part of a production team. I forgot to name that I am in film, but that's a whole nother conversation. I am in film.
Okay, multi-hyphenates.
I have an award-winning documentary about the city of Boston and the LGBTQIA community that I produced.
Oh my
And we won awards
gosh.
at the Roxbury Film Festival, so it was really dope. And we've had screenings all over the city at so many different universities and colleges and museums as well. So I say all that to
Mm.
say, it's like, bro, you gotta do what you gotta do, but you don't gotta beat somebody up or ostracize somebody to do or get where you need to get. There's a lot of conversations around this, like with Ariel and I, where I'm like, some people be thinking you part of the problem because you be in these rooms with these people that don't necessarily want the best for us. But I was like, what's challenging is like, no, I'm not with these people, but yeah, I'm with these people. And the reason why I'm with them is because they need somebody like me in the space to yell from the
Mm.
tops all the things that they're
For
doing
real.
so that they can do the work for the right way. If I remove myself, then there is no accountability for them to do the things that they need to be doing. So as
That
much as
part.
it looks like it's in alignment, it's like, no, actually, I'm here to represent y'all who are not being represented in these meetings with these
Right.
people.
You gotta break it from the inside out.
That, what do they say? Conquer, divide and conquer.
Mm.
Yeah, no, but you got to also infiltrate and then conquer from the inside and break that stuff down. And it's like if you don't have somebody doing that, then you can't expect real change to really occur
Right,
because
right.
nobody's holding anybody to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
They just playing around it. Nah.
That part. Someone's asking for the name of the film. Also, so much love. Outspoken Saturdays was the first time I was part of a Boston event, despite performing around New England for a few years. Very grateful for that. Grateful for the conversation and opportunity to listen and be informed. Love and light and abundance to you both and all present during this live piece. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all
Love
the
it.
love. But shout out that film.
Oh, it's called Narratives in Black. No, I'm sorry. That's the podcast. Oh my God. It's
But
called
also, like,
Black.
honestly, especially because, we coming up on 2 hours here, but shout out, like, all the ways that people can keep up with you and stay in touch. All of them.
It's called Black Narratives in Boston's LGBTQ queer and trans history. So we literally it's a film that literally highlights 1960 to 2020 all LGBTQIA things in Boston, from the first gay bar to the first ball scene and how
Oh
that
my
was even brought
gosh.
here to Boston, which is a really interesting story because ball, as most people know, the ball scene originated in New York, but you'll get to see who in New York started that movement and then brought it here. So that's T. That's also important to name too. Before I forget, Kat Morris went to school in Philadelphia, where the Roots picnic is a big thing for those who don't know. And when she was in Philly and being able to see all of the art and the culture, she
Mm.
noticed that there was a need here in Boston, and that was the birth of Dams Fest. So
Oh
when I
wow.
say like influence or impact from other cities and states can start being the brainchild of what you don't see in the city in which you reside.
So well
But
said.
people would be like, "Oh, well, she's trying to copy that." No, she's not trying to copy that. She can't copy the Roots Picnic. It's its own thing. But what she can do is she can start something that can be its own thing here in her own city. And
Mm.
her story is really interesting. She's also somebody who was interviewed on Narratives in Black. I would be remiss if I did not shout out her episode because she talks about all of that. In the fight she had with the city to be able to bring it to Franklin Park and how much
Mm.
history is in Franklin Park as Black people. So when you see that white stadium is coming to Franklin Park and why Bostonians were so mad, if you do your history, you'll see why. There's so much here.
Oh
There's so
wow.
much. Franklin Park is historic. So if you don't
I
know,
know,
like,
I know what I'm gonna be doing this
yes,
weekend.
go back in the archives and watch. But I say all that to say this film highlights all of that from the first executive director of the LGBTQIA executive division in the city hall. That's a new position that's never been there before. To
Mm.
again to the ball scene, to AIDS epidemic of people in Boston having to experience that firsthand. There's a lot of our elders in that documentary that are talking about Boston in its historic legacy and like
Mm.
how hard it was to fight back then. And like if you look now, it's like, yeah, it's still a fight. But when they say when an elder dies, a library burns. And that's why I'm
Mm.
very intergenerational
Mm.
with all the things that I do, because why do we not have young youth with paired up with our elders, because they have all this
Yep.
information and lived experience. They should be speaking about the things that they've had to do, because once you know what they had to go through and their struggle, it inspires you to fight even harder.
Yep. Yep. And it gives you so much context. Like I legit shout out to all the digital resources we have now that didn't exist before. Like a lot of that work we can just do, and ChatGPT and all these resources that we can use now that are readily available for us to explore. But there are certain things, there's certain pieces of history that you would never know unless you spoke to somebody, and that's where oral tradition comes from. That's where, like, especially our African roots, that's literally how we exchange information for so long, and we continue to do that. And so again, I'm so grateful for you because this is part of my research. What?
Oh, I saw you taking
Okay,
notes, sis.
okay.
I saw you taking notes.
I wouldn't, but so much of it I wouldn't be able to access in any other way. I love what you said.
Thank you.
That when an elder passes, it's like a whole library gets burned. That's powerful, so so powerful.
It's so, so true,
So respect
unfortunately.
your elders, not just because that's the phrase that gets thrown around, but like for real, respect your elders.
My mom was saying that the other day about homelessness and the problem that we're facing in America. And she's like, Amanda, she was like, the people who are homeless are getting older and older. She was like, it's just the saddest thing in the world. And I'm like, it's unfortunate we don't take care of our elders like we take care of
Mm,
kids. Because for me, the most precious and vulnerable age groups of our generation is babies, kids, and the elders.
yeah,
Those are the most people that need the most protection, period. They have lived their life and now they deserve that same protection and those same resources from us. They
right.
do. And when we don't do them a service, we do ourselves a disservice because we don't learn nothing.
Yep, yep.
I'm a person. I'm an Aquarius. For all my Aquariuses in the chat, I was born on the same day as Bob Marley. So I tell
Oh
people
my
if
gosh.
and if you know Bob Marley for real, like he is, and I say is, even though he has transitioned, he is a humanitarian because he
Mm,
spoke about all the ways in which that we need to love each other, stick up for ourselves, be our each other's like protection, while also making sure that the government does not overtake us,
mm,
mind, body, and spirit. And as you can see, like even his demise, my mom used to be so scared. you know, because it took us a long time to rebuild our relationship. But once we did, and she was just like really scared about how frequently I speak up. She was like, Amanda, one day, you know, you might get in trouble for that. And I was like, Mom, I have no problem being a martyr because at least people will know that I died for something and didn't do anything. I'm not scared. You can jail me, Nelson Mandela. If you watch his story, his biography, his autobiography, Martin Luther King Jr.'s words still resonate heavily today. Malcolm X's, Medgar Evers, Cornel West, you know, all these prolific people, we don't go back. We don't go back. We're so focused on the now and the future that we never revisit. And I understand it's painful. You know, I get it. It's hard to reflect back on those times, but it's important not only just for your own personal journey to be like, damn, I got through a lot of stuff. Who knew I was going to be here? But also looking back at our country as a whole, it was never set up for us to win here, even though it was built on our backs. Well, really our ancestors' backs. We are the descendants of our ancestors. So if they endured what they had to endure, which when I think about working in a field in the country, picking cotton, I don't know if I would have mentally been able to do that.
The way I've said the same thing.
Because, girl, okay? And even though people joke around and be like, girl, you would not be in the field, you would be in the house. And I'm like, even if that's the case, I don't know if I would have the mental stability either, because we were used as breeding grounds and also as nannies to take care of these babies that we were being raped and pillaged to even have. Could you imagine?
And then to still have the audacity to hope and to have faith during all of that.
What? That's the one, I think that's the superpower of Black and brown people, is that even in the face of like whatever it is that we go through, we are still giving people grace. We are such a forgiving people. And imagine if that were the other way and we were, you know, bitter. The violence, you know, I just want people to understand, if you did not get nothing from this interview from me, I keep saying it, lead with kindness. It is $3.99. Talk to your person on the train. Don't be all in your phone. And also take breaks from social media and take breaks from consuming everything. Like, we really are what we eat, listen to, what we read. Like, it's all the same thing. So if I'm watching baddies, no shade, but if I'm watching baddies all the time, like, I'm just saying, like, if I'm not reading books that are being banned, they actually banned a couple of Judy Blume books, and that was one of the first authors
What did Judy Blume do?
They said it was too provocative to talk about coming of age teens. What? Like, she taught me, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, was like the book that helped grow me, because my mom was too disillusioned and too distracted to teach me what a menstrual was. Like, that book taught me so much about not only sisterhood, but also like what it is to grow up and start changing and evolving as a teenager. Because that's a big jump, like adolescence to teen. It happens overnight, and that's why we see these kids, people be like, oh, it's puberty. No, it's also confliction. Now they're starting to feel more, hear more, see more, learn more. That's a lot. From 11 to 25 is a very crucial like period, and it's only 14 years. It goes by like that. There's a reason why the city of Boston still views in the OYA office, the Office of Youth and Engagement in Arts Programming, why they say that the age limit is, the cutoff limit is 25. You're still not grown. I didn't have it all the way together at 25. I had 2 kids, trying to go through college, trying to work, be a wife. It was hard. Like, what? Like, we need to learn and cater to folks, especially our men, who are targets just for existing. I have my brother tell me that all the time, and shout out to Mello Jones, he says the same thing. They be like, you never will understand the experience of a Black man in America. We walk into rooms and we're already deemed a threat.
Yep.
especially depending upon your stature. Don't let you be a big dude. Don't let your skin be too dark now.
Yep.
Don't let your hair be natural state. It's this is real. So it's like we have to, and again, I'm not big on gender. I just understand there we are multi-layered, and a lot of us carry a lot of identities while some of us carry singular identities. But this is
Right.
important.
Absolutely.
They say black women
Absolutely.
are the most feared and most disrespected uh, uh, gender in the world.
Mm.
I think it's changed a little bit. I think it's black women and black men. You know, like I don't know. And I always tell them I don't know what it's like to be a black man and how you show up. I don't know what that's like. But I listen to them. I listen.
Yeah.
And I just hear them out and I'd be like, okay, I understand your experience and I'm sorry that you have to go through that. How can
Yeah.
I support you through that?
We all struggling.
We are. We really are. So yeah, just lead with kindness, y'all. It's free 99. Oh, that's my room service. Give me 1 second.
You good.
Hi. Not right now. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Tomorrow? Tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Y'all,
room service.
it's giving celebrity. I'm like, my hotel room service.
Oh my gosh, Amanda, I commend you for your capacity to love. It really is something to admire. It's something to study.
Thank you.
Um, and I thank you on behalf of everyone that you've touched in this city and beyond. I thank you for genuinely all that you are and all that you do. Um, and
Likewise.
I'm so excited to see you continue to blossom and flourish and impact. Okay, impactor.
It's a new word. Everybody gonna
Please.
use it now. Say it. Don't be like I'm an influencer now. I'm an
Right, you
impactor.
know. Right,
Period.
right.
But no, thank you. What you see in me is what lies in you too, sis. And like I always tell you, I'm a mirror. So I really, really applaud you for this platform. Again, we've been talking about this for a really long time of how can we just grow our city and bring people together because we're tired of seeing people rip each other apart or even just the narratives, which whether they're true or not, we
Mm-hmm.
love our city. We don't want that to be what people remember us for and
Yeah.
what their experience is. So I thank you for creating this. And I see the people that you be interviewing. And I'm like, these are not easy folks to get their time and their availability and their
You
attention.
included. Oh my
You
gosh.
know, but I'm in a hotel room right now, so like, I had the time, I had the time. But so I thank you for all that work and like how intentional you are about not only learning about the people, but also doing your research about the people and the intentional questions that you ask folks. I don't think I've ever been this open and honest ever. So that
Mm.
is a testament to what you bring to this city. This is a testament of who you are as a person. So please
Mm.
receive your flowers. I'm always going to be sprinkling them on you because you deserve them every single day. I see
I
what you go through
appreciate you.
on and off the scenes, girl, and this is not easy, but you still show up as your 1000% self, and we love you for that. And for all the
Thank
people who are
you.
watching, you're welcome, mama. And for all the
It's
people
all
who are
God,
watching,
man.
we fuck with y'all. We fuck with y'all. So even
Absolutely.
if you've seen this and you're like somebody needs to watch this, send it to them and be like, yo, I feel like you could benefit by listening to this conversation. And that's not just for this episode. I mean for any of them. That's the beauty of what we do with these lives is you can always repeat, rinse and
Yep.
repeat at all times. Like this is archival. You're also doing archival journalism right now because it's not only
Mm.
digital, but this will last forever. You
Yeah.
realize that, right?
Yeah. No, I feel it. Somebody's got to do it. That's what I say every time.
It's giving
Somebody's got to
mini
do it.
doc. It's giving mini doc. Maybe
On the way,
slashing
coming
all
soon.
this. Yeah, it's giving mini doc. Not too much pressure, but that's what it's giving. Um, did anybody want to ask a question before I head out? I'll give y'all about like 5-ish minutes to ask me any questions in the chat. put them in the chat if you can. My phone is being super slow, so it's not refreshed, so I can't see all what is happening. I
I
think the
got
last
you.
comment I see is like from way before. I don't know what's good with that. But if you have any questions, ask me now.
But also let people know, like, you know, if you want to shout out your platforms, like how to keep up with you.
Yeah, y'all can catch me at any event that's happening near you. No, I'm just playing. But
No,
not
but for real.
but for real. You can follow me at Amanda Shea all day on my Instagram. I don't really be on Facebook like that, but my Facebook is the same exact thing. And if you really want to tap in with me, I always tell people email me. So you can find my email at www.amandashay.com. Also, you can subscribe to my newsletter. I put out a newsletter every single month, basically not only recapping all of the things that I'm doing and then telling you what's to come, but also I highlight a lot of dope things in that and a lot of dope people. So if you're trying to see what's happening in like DC, because we at Right About Now tonight. So Right About Now is a poetry platform similar to Button Poetry for those who are in the poet world that are based in Houston, but now they're moving around and doing guest stops. And like last night they were in Baltimore, tonight they're in DC. So I'll be on their open mic list. It's featuring Rebecca Dupas, who will be in Boston for her one-woman show, Somebody Else's Blues, on December 19th at the Boston Center of the Arts. When I tell y'all it's important for y'all to show up to these things is because I know it's a heavy week. We have the Boston Music Awards on the 17th. We have Free Verse on the 18th, and then we have Rebecca Dupas's show on the 19th. I say all that to say is like arts and culture is what keeps the pulse of this country and our humanity running. Without it, we would be nothing. So I would say show up to that, but also the Rebecca Dupas's show is so important because this is somebody who's not from your neighborhood. This is a time for Boston to show people what Boston is all about and also get familiar with other creatives that are doing and making moves that are similar to what you want to do coming to your city. The love I got from Baltimore last night was insane. Like people literally drove from DC, from Philly, like that's a 2.5 hour drive to Baltimore from Philly. Like you gotta understand, like when people are showing up, that means something.
Wow, yeah.
So if you're in Rhode Island, Connecticut, you know, wherever it is, Maine, New Hampshire, you know, what's a little bit closer to like without going too far. I mean, Philadelphia is a 5.5, maybe 5 hour at best drive for me from the city to Philadelphia. But it's really not impossible. It's not. You can also take the train, you can take the bus. Get out and see it. When you see how other people live, you get a different appreciation and it contributes to your writing.
Yes.
J. Cole said it best, when I have new experiences is when I can have new material. When you start seeing how other people live and how people move around, it's so inspiring. You're like, what? So get out. Even I know traveling can be a little expensive for some folks, but if you can't travel when these people are coming to the city, that's when you say, okay, I can spend a little bit of bread to come and see these people.
Yes, expand your mind.
Expand your mind and expand your network because they say your net worth is connected to your network. And I am a firm believer of that. Word of mouth still works too. So even if you don't want to use none of these digital platforms, cool, but word of mouth. People will listen to people that they know. That's how I find out about a lot of new artists myself. Because people are like, did you hear? And I'll be like, nah. And then I'll hear them and they're fire.
Right.
So share the resources. Nobody's in competition with each other. Everybody at the top is collaborating. Everybody at the bottom be competing. Message.
Gem. Perfect note to close off on. Period. Well, this concludes the 9th session. I appreciate everybody who's popping through.
Did you say 9?
Yeah. We've done 9 of these.
Okay, so if you're into numerology, the hotel I'm staying in, their number is 1143, which equals 9. We are in the year of 9, year of the snake, where we are shedding and having a rebirth because we're entering the year of 10 in 2020.
Oh.
which is the year of the horse. Which, if when I think of horses, I think of horses in open field, like so freedom, liberation. But I also think of racetracks where it's going to be fast paced. So this is the month. This is the last month of 2026. I don't believe the new year is in January. I believe it's in spring, but that's a whole other thing. But what I will say is we're entering a new year. This is important for you to shed all of the things that you needed to shed so that you can really meet that transformation self on the other side of that. So that's funny that you said 9. That's crazy.
I'm not even surprised.
I'm not either. I'm not either. I'm not either. I am not either. That is so funny because when I saw the address, I was like, does that say 1143? And if you're an old school baby on beepers, you would put 143, which meant I love you. Like 80s baby shit.
Oh my
Dark knows what I'm
gosh.
talking about. But yeah, so with that being said, and we're at Yours Truly. That's the name of the hotel. Yours Truly. Stop playing with me. Okay.
And didn't you say earlier it's the same area that you were in before?
Before the COVID shutdown, I'm in downtown DC. Like I am within a shot of the Peace Institute, the Kennedy Center. It is
Okay,
it's
intention.
insane.
Okay, intention. I see you,
No,
God.
it's also God. God is
I
like,
see you,
oh,
God.
I
Every
see you,
time.
God. I see you
Every time.
Wait, let me let you close out. I'm gonna be quiet.
Oh, you're good, you're good. All right, I appreciate y'all. This was the last one of this season, so we're gonna take a little mini break, and then we'll be back in the new year. There's so many people, y'all. Even the names that you mentioned earlier, I have them written down. I'm gonna have to be reaching out to these people too. Again, this is
Please
all
do.
part of so much research to be done, so many perspectives to tap into. I just again want to thank everybody who's been keeping up with these and keeping up with the work and just pouring into the ecosystem, whether you're an artist, a manager, somebody on the business side, on the organizational side, the nonprofit side, or if you're just somebody who's not even a creative, but you're a consumer of the culture. I appreciate every single one of y'all, and every single role matters to keep this machine running and flowing in the way that we want it to. So yeah, this episode will be archived in a few days, and I will see y'all literally next year. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope, Amanda, I see you before then. I'll
Yeah.
see you next Wednesday.
I was like, next Wednesday I'll see you.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest artistic
Okay, but
like
I'm waiting for the 4 times.
okay, so a lot of people keep thinking that it's gonna be 4, and I'm just like,
But also sharing space, so I feel it. I'm in the same boat. I'm excited
can
for
I just
who.
name for a second, like, even fighting for that? I love me some Paul Armstrong, but I had to fight for that spoken word Artist of the Year award
Oh
because I was
wow.
realizing there was a lot of poets that were featured on a lot of tracks with rappers, singers. I mean, I'm on tracks with Miranda Ray and there's the Exit theme. There's shout out to my guy who's also performing on Wednesday. Like there was so many people, and I was just like, there needs to be an award for this because we're also part of the music ecosystem, but also
Absolutely.
our babies. Like 2 of my mentees are on that list: Jolene, Brito, and Maya Divine. Like, bro, come on! Like they need to be acknowledged for their beautiful work as well. So
Absolutely.
worst case scenario, y'all come to the Boston Music Awards. It is a really good networking event as well. Like if there's
Yes.
somebody you want to connect with, that night is the night that you will see everybody from everything that Stacks just said, like producers, creators, filmmakers,
Everything.
everything artistic. You would be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't get those tickets, and the tickets ain't even expensive. I saw the pricing and I'm like, oh, not only is it a good night, but Paul made it affordable for everybody at Midnight Live. That's rare. So we gotta support.
Facts. So I hope I will see the rest of y'all there too. But other than that, I'll catch y'all later.
Have a good weekend. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.